Hey, welcome to see the Sunrise channel. Let's start. Our film begins in a place called Raqqa. We learn that it is a country divided into two names from east to west, and it is controlled by a strange and mysterious force called Katia. We know that this fold has a dark area full of monsters and ghosts. We seem to be entering into a topic. Big war is taking place between a second Rafka next to it, called Jerd in the north, and a country called Chuhan in the south. Because of this, Raqqa decided to put a tight guard on her country, and they divided the two armies in order to protect their country and created an army of ordinary soldiers called Jarisha and a second army of people who have special abilities and know Elena, our heroine, and we know that she is traveling with the coastal army camp with her colleagues who are drawing maps in the first unit, and along the way she remembers her memories of when she was young, and the supervisor of the orphanage in which she lives tells her that his cat is the reason for the death of her father and mother. And as soon as she arrives, she meets her childhood friend Mal, and we find out he is working with the First Army, and they are both very happy that they will stay together for a while after all this time, because their two units have united and work together, and their service will remain on the same border, and unfortunately their joy will not be complete, because their commander chose Mal from within a special team to prepare for the fold and arrive supplies, and she is very afraid for us, and she leaves this trip because she knows how dangerous it is, but she cannot do anything. On this day, she agrees with Lena to take her food, but no one wants to give her food just because she is from Shahan, and Baker did not say that he was entering the tent of the Second Army, Jarisha, and we will see. They have good housing and all kinds of food and luxury. He takes some food for Lena, and suddenly she sees one of them. Her name is Zoya, and instead of punishing him, she tries to get closer to him because he likes her, and she likes him a little, and his appearance and convinces him that he will spend the night with her, but he refuses without thinking and tells her that he must go to his friend and stay with Alina. He offers her a plate of fruit so she can eat it, and they talk a lot to each other, and Alina tells him that this trip is very dangerous and that she is very afraid for him, and with the restrictions he does not go with them, but he does not have any solution other than that he carries out orders, and the next morning Alina thinks of a plan so that she searches for another Mal and stays with him and burns all his ruins on the West Raqqa coast. Because of this, they were forced to take some cartographers with them on their trip, and she is very happy because they actually chose her. Mal tries to stop her and prevent her from going with him. Unfortunately, he cannot prevent her, and they go out together. On the ship, the catamaran is moving, and they cut the sail of the ship in this way because of the strong winds that will blow it, and there will be a very small number of people who can control the fire and set the rules, but they will walk on throughout the trip, and it seems that they prefer to be calm and adhere to all the rules, and none of them can light lanterns or lights. They turn on the lights, and they rely only on the blue light of the lantern they have with them to keep them safe. We see that the weather is very dark, and Alina stands afraid and nervous, and the deeper they go, the more afraid she becomes. Sounds of Volcar are heard, and we learn that they are dragon-like creatures, and they prefer to fly in the air around them, and after a short time, their lantern has been shut off, and without thinking, Teacher, one of the soldiers, runs to turn on the regular lantern, and of course, they warn anyone who turns it on because it is very dangerous. And we know that with this movement, it attracts the people to them, and them to them, and they enter into a war with the soldiers. And unfortunately, they kill a very large number of them. We say one of the soldiers, his name is Alex, and he remains very afraid and tense to the point that he repeatedly jumps off the ship and runs away. After a while, one of the Volca catches Mal and tries to save himself in any way, and they hit him with a knife like this. She runs to help him, grabs a gun on the ground, and hits the monster with fire. She approaches Mal after that and sees the injury, and then a monster comes from behind her and grabs her with all his might, pulling her with all his strength to save her. Suddenly a very strange light comes out of her entire body, and we know that she is one of the Jarish named Sun, and she has supernatural powers. We say on the shores of West Raqqa the soldiers are all standing and waiting for the supply ship that is coming to them, and after a few hours, my friend, they see Alex running and leaving the fold, and as soon as he arrives he faints and sits on the ground all the time. Suddenly, the ship reaches the east of Rakan, and Bella is with us, and the injured's money is thrown into the ship, and then we move the scene to Turdem, which is a city located on the island of Creech, and even though it is only part of Raqqa, she was separated from the country because of a mistake, and there we meet Kaz, and we find out that he is a well-known criminal. He takes a lot of information from a strong girl named Aang and uses her for his services. Because of her excessive intelligence and great skills. He learns from her that there is a very rich merchant named Dries who is looking for a team to pass the fold and reach Sri Raka. He is looking for a specific thing and wants to take it from there, and he is willing to pay a very large sum in exchange for delivering what he wants, and Akasa feels that this is a very good opportunity and he must take advantage of it. And he remains afraid of Roland's competitor because he is as strong as him and has a strong team, and it is possible that he will take this job from him. He wastes it on himself and Baker, Kaz, because he is acting quickly, and he will take this job before Roland takes it. He knows that Dries wants to reach something that will make him lose control, so he can control everything around him. Kaz goes and walks after a woman named Milana, and he makes out with her that she will take him to Dries and let him meet him, and as soon as they get there, we know that they caught Alex and imprisoned him, accusing him of knowing information about the fold and his hideout. Teresa asks Milana to investigate him and get from him all the information they need. Alex tells her that someone saved them all, and that this person followed someone who has a strange ability, and a strange light emerges from him, like sunlight, and when they press him, he tells them that this person is a girl named Elena, and in the end they beat Dries with fire and get rid of him without any mercy. Then Rakas and a team start their journey to Latia and bring this to Elena in any way. Then the scene goes back to Laura, and we see Mal and Elena when they were young and sitting with their friends at home, and he listens a story together, and the boy tells them that the Second Army visited the orphanage to test some of the children and see if any of them are from Jarish and have supernatural powers or not, and are afraid. They told us very much because they no longer want anyone to separate them, and they decide that they are escaping together and using the present. We see them transporting Mal and Lena to the army camp for treatment, and they are very interested in Elena's treatment, and as soon as she excels, they take her to a military tent, and General Curran waits for her, and he talks to her about what happened and tells her that he knew her abilities. But Lena denies everything he says and says that she is just a cartographer and nothing more, and he is close to her. A general cuts off her hands, while a very large beam emerges from her body, and all the people are surprised at what is happening. When the general is sure of what he heard, he orders her to be transported to the small palace so that she can be beaten under his watch and stay well. Then the king also remains reassured, and at the same time, we see Cass thinking of a way and a plan that he will go through. His team tells him that she is not going to travel with him because she is a slave to the owner of the brothel, whose name is Helen. What a stupid uncle! And we know that she was a gas trader and that she cannot travel without Helen allowing her to do so. He goes to Gas and talks to Helen, and he tries to convince her that she should leave him. He takes Zhang with him and then pays her the money later because he doesn't have any money now and he doesn't know what to do. Then, on the same day, his wife comes and they keep threatening him because he took Driss's job from them and asks him why he should leave this job. Either he will kill him and get rid of him before he walks away with my hand in his hands. There is a chance that he is thinking about the matter and repeating what he is going to do. Kaz then sees a woman sitting in his place and counting the money in the same way that Rakan's family counts their money. He feels that she might stay from there, and he lets his men get her and sits with her alone. After a while, he is convinced that she is talking, and he learns from her that her daughter is from. She runs and she has special abilities, and she ran away with them here because she didn't want them to separate God from her daughter. Kaz offers her a lot of money in exchange for her telling him about all the traces of the fold and about the girl who saved them from there. Ella. Same time, Helen talks to Ong and tells her that Kaz wants to take her with him. She tells her that she is willing to release her without any money in exchange for her killing someone for her. She tells her that this man is a human trafficker and really deserves to die. She shows her his address and all the details that she can relate to him. She is very hesitant and remains afraid to do this because she knows that this is a big crime and forbidden. Her religion is hers, and at the same time she cannot refuse Helen's request because she still wants to be liberated and remain free in all her decisions. We know that this man is the same man that Kaz is looking for, and we see the soldiers on their way to the small palace with a large group of enemies on them and Alina, and it is likely that they will finish off a number. A big, strong soldier, teacher, and one of the enemies is trying to take this to us, but Kieran uses his shadow magic like this and cuts the two pieces and then takes it to us and quickly escapes with it from the place. After a while, they stand in the road like this to rest and talk to each other about her strength and the ability she has, and he tells her the general is that only one who could destroy a lot of things. And because of this ability she has, she will remain exposed to danger from the enemies. They continue on their way after that until they reach a palace, and Current tells her that this is the place she can rest the most. And they will be able to reach the palace safely, and they will open a very large suite for Lena. She remains amazed by the place, its elegance, the closet full of beautiful clothes, and a very luxurious bathroom. She thinks about money and is upset that she herself is staying with her, meaning in a place like this and having fun like her, although he is definitely worried about her. Now, she reaches the angel of the man she wants to kill, and she thinks that he is the same man who kidnapped her, her brother, and them when they were young. She kept hitting him and threatening him, meaning to know where her brother was, but the man was determined that he did not know where he was, and she was trying to kill him. Kaz entered at this time and prevented her from killing him. He told her that he was the only one who could get them to Alina, and the man thought that he would show them the way to the small palace and go. Then he went to Helen to negotiate with her so that she would leave Ange alone, and he would offer her to take his place with a guarantee, meaning that someone would not return with her money, and in return, she would let Ange walk with him. The next day, teacher, in the morning, she would wake up to us and remember the dream she had while she was asleep, and that she saw something strange in front of her. It very gigantic and intense light is coming out of it, and suddenly a large, strong number of girls enter her room who have come to serve her and help. This means that she is getting ready and preparing herself to meet the king, and as soon as she is ready, she goes to a room, and the king and queen take her to introduce her to them and explain to them that he means to see her abilities, and he feels like he was in his shadow. He holds her shield tightly and displays all her abilities in front of everyone in the hall. She builds a large bubble of light around her, and all the people stand in amazement and cannot believe what is happening. The king, of course, is fascinated by her and thinks that they are taking care of him and her training, and that she will be ready as soon as possible. She then goes to the palace library and tries to find any explanation for her dream. She continues to scroll through the books, and suddenly, the spiritual advisor to the king appears in front of her, and as soon as he sees the book in her hand, he decides that he is telling her the true story of this book, and he tells her that this is the story of the first Jarish in history, and that they recorded his entire story so that all of history would remember him and learn from him, from his strength and ability, medic, and the animals that helped him and increased his strength. He was also able to provide anyone around him with the power he had, and the book says that if one of the Jarish kills any animal and merges an animal's bone with its bone, then his power is doubled at that time than at any other time. When the counselor finishes the story, she gives her the book as a gift. He offers to be friends with her and goes with her to take her to her trainer. We get to know Badger, and we learn that she is an old trainer and has a lot of experience in training young people. She is able to let them control their abilities and use them at the right time. She continues to talk to Elena in a rude way and tells her that she is not ready for training and asks her to. She walks and comes back when she feels her self-worth and appreciates the power she has. On the same day, teacher, she writes us a money letter and tells him everything that happens to her. Describes to him the palace, its beauty, and the sweet life in it, and says that she would rather live in a tent but be with him than live in the palace. This is far away from him, and at the same time we see Kaz Wang and the sniper Jasper on their way to the palace, and they take the man with them to show them the way, and Kaz keeps thinking of a way for them to enter the palace easily, and the man tells him about Elena and tells him that her strength is very high and that she can manipulate people's minds because of her ability, and Kaz stays. I am eager for him to see her as soon as possible. Unfortunately, gentlemen, a group of Elena's enemies enter and try to kidnap her. Elena prefers to defend herself and attacks them, but they catch her in the end and walk away. When Kaz arrives, those who are with him are unable to reach her. Kaz becomes very upset and asks them to help him and count the fold together and find out exactly what happens there, and they agree that they are doing this, and they still need a large amount of coal for the whole road and part of a certain plant and a goat, and Angel sends a factory-made gas to get what you need and sends Jasper to mean that he will get the rest, and he goes to get the goat, and at this time, gentlemen, Jasper's mind is distracted because he goes around with people he sees playing gambling in the street, and he realizes that he is playing with them and loses all the money he has. This is the money for the coal that he is about to buy, and he is forced to steal the coal so that he can return it to them, and at a second time on the same day, they all go together to a place on the other side. Katia's borders in order to train and Some of them ride the diameter to move on their way, and there is a big problem, which is that Jasper only brought half the amount of coal that they needed, and suddenly they are attacked by Kadia's monsters, and of course they are much stronger than them, and they also do not have much coal to use, and the monsters surround the entire diameter and they do not survive. They know how to act, and they feel that this is their end, and suddenly Jasper shows off all his shooting skills and hits the monsters one by one, transporting themselves in the end, and he uses a device and 2 sleeping bags to reach their goal, and a device achieves a dream that he has as a cat and discovers what is happening in it, and our movie ends like this, gentlemen, and I will see you again. The greatness of what is coming, write to me in the comments. We want to summarize for you as well. Peace be upon you.